Hello and Happy New Year. I'm going to try to make a 10-inch chef knife like this here to give away here on YouTube. So, you're gonna have to watch the whole video series. The holes my dog's been digging in the ground, I'm gonna kill myself. But I'm gonna try to turn this chunk of steel into that 10-inch chef knife that I just showed you the picture of right here. This is what I'll keep referring to as I'm hammering out, but still it's just all kind of by eye, you know what I mean? So first things first, start the grill. Chunk of steel. Oops. See, I like to start the forge so you see what I'm doing, but it's also going to take a minute for this to heat up, so we're going to have to kill a couple of minutes. I could, cut this and edit this part out. What do you think I should do? Let me know in the comments. But for this giveaway, you're going to have to like and watch the videos, be subscribed, and give me a comment so I know you're there. And at the end, I'll tell you what we got to do and how we got to do to win it or whatever. But first, we got to make it. I'm going to film the other processes too, which are the grinding, when I put the handle on. And the good news is I'm going to have a shed soon. We actually bought the shed. We're just waiting for it to be delivered. I got to put it together, but that's no big deal. And then I got to run power to it. It's going to be out here. Robot stopped following me. I hope the battery's not dead on this thing. Come on. Follow me over here. Shed's going to go over there. That corner, that area over there. I charged this thing. Hopefully the battery don't die, or I'm gonna have to keep readjusting the camera. But like I was saying, we're gonna make this knife. I'm gonna film all the different processes, the grinding, how I make the brass bolsters, which is just out of square stock brass. I'm gonna have to order that too. So I get all those knife supplies from a place out in Texas, Jan's Knife Supply. I don't know if you ever heard of it. I don't even know if I'm allowed to use their name. But this is just a piece of leaf spring. My friend was working on like a 1940 style Ford coupe or whatever, and this was the rear leaf spring assembly. So I made quite a few blades out of all those leaf springs. I like to use the 5160 spring steel because it makes great swords, because it's flexible, it's long, it's hard, it'll hold an edge, but it also flex. Some steels are so hard that when it comes to flexing, they won't chip or anything, but they can snap in half, because of the tensile strength. Yeah, let's take a look in the forge. See in there? It's almost ready to use. Confusing the robot by picking it up. I'm going to wipe out one of these holes. I have to keep watching this thing too because it keeps wanting to shut off. good and hot, because if you beat on the steel when it's cool, you can put stress fractures in it, in the grain of it, which, you know, like I said, I'm just an average guy, and I just started doing this pretty much blindly, or watching videos and, you know, watching Forged in Fire actually. But then I started watching all YouTube videos and all these guys doing this stuff. So if I could do it, I mean, pretty much you can do it. So, and if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Not that I know what I'm doing, but, you know, I can maybe, you know, speak to you in layman's terms, because that's the only terms I know. Let's give it a couple of whacks, by the way. Straighten it right out right there. You know, it's good. It's getting soft now, getting workable. So once you get that hot core, the core cools down a lot slower than the outside. So it'll be much faster in between heats now. And actually start working it down to my chef knife over here. There's probably going to be some extra here material, but you know, that'll all get ground. You'll see me grind that away in the next videos. Which, like I said, I think I'm going to have to edit, because you're sitting there, you know, I'll do a good amount of grinding so you can see how it starts to take shape, and then I'll have to fast forward, because the grinding takes a long time. It takes longer than this, you know what I mean? Several hours to the grinding, and then, well, I don't want to take it down too far before I heat treat it, because I've done that, and then the blade, if it's too thin when you try to quench it, it can curve. Already getting thinner. I probably could use a lot of smaller piece, but we'll see. It all depends on how much I flatten it. Whatever I don't flatten, I have to grind off, and that takes even longer. Let's see. It's a pretty big piece of steel, but it's just a piece I have laying around. It's been a rough couple of weeks. I found out that I have a small hernia down here. So I'm going to have to get that repaired. I'm not looking forward to the surgery. It's not that bad, you know what I mean, but it could get worse, and it could get stuck out there, and it's a part of your intestines, so if that happens, you're in bad shape. So I got to get that fixed. We had a leak in the garage underneath the slab. Luckily the house was still under warranty, and they came and fixed that, but I got two big holes in my slab now. But, you know, they filled it in with concrete, but you can see where it was. Luckily it was in the garage. Like I said, we got the shed, we got to put that together soon. Been doing some work on the house, you know, flooring in my son's room. Just your average. And work's been crazy. A lot of work. So I've been going kind of crazy lately, and as you know, I'm a recovered alcoholic. So it's been a lot of drinking with the holidays. And that's a little tough for me sometimes, so. You know, I made it through all that, especially last night. You know, went to a New Year's Eve party with the family, and you know, there was people drinking a little too much and stuff, and it's like, you know, I'm still getting used to that. You know, it's only been 5 years. 5 years sober. 5.5 actually. Now it's nice and quiet. Hey, wake up. Yeah. Robots is annoying. Keep shutting off on me. I don't know. I gotta read the instructions. Might help, but I could have sworn the battery was fully charged. I mean, it keeps coming back on, but it goes to sleep on me. It's got a little remote control. Maybe I'll have to start using that. But maybe it's getting confused, or it goes to sleep and I don't move fast enough. Who knows? But you gotta watch that little green light, because if you get stuck over here, I'm hammering over here. You know what I mean? Working out the kinks. Working out the kinks, but you know, like I said, this is basically my documentation of making an X-Pattern Damascus and making an Xbox Damascus for Seamus Blackley, one of the original inventors of the original Xbox. It's my life quest for a little while. Besides, you know, keeping my family fed and roofed. You know, it's just something to keep my mind busy. Stop thinking about drinking. Not that big of a piece of steel, but I'm trying to get an idea now. I'm working on the blade side of it right now. When I get that little worked out, then I'll switch over to the back end, the handle, the grip. That's where, with these knives, that's where all the detail is in the bolsters and the, you know, the handle. And I do all that pretty much by hand. And they're not perfect, you know what I mean, but they look good. You'll see, you know. I think that's part of something being handmade. It's not done by a machine or with, you know, automated machines. You still have to operate the machine, but, you know, some of that stuff makes it a lot easier. Work that up into a tip. The handle's got to get worked way down, you know, so that it's about, well, you see in the picture, I guess. It's a, you know, common 10-inch chef's knife design, and thing is, it'll be nice and solid and heavy. This knife will last you forever. It'll stay sharp longer. It'll slice through anything. I mean, and you'll be able to use it as a butcher knife and a delicate, you know, fillet or you know, julienne knife. One of my friends went to Johnson and Wales. He's a graduate. I made him a few knives, and he loves them. Starting to work that tip in. There's actually nothing like a high carbon steel kitchen knife. Julia Child, I think, wrote an article about it, you know, explaining why stainless steel is garbage. Not that it's garbage, but these are much better, stronger, last longer. I mean, you can't put this thing in the dishwasher. It has to be cleaned by hand after every use, and some people don't like to do that. You got to keep some beeswax or some mineral oil on it, or butcher's wax, or they have butcher's block oil. You can use that. It's all food safe. But you're gonna have to take care of the knife, and the knife will take care of you. And closer. Higher and higher. So, like I was saying, high carbon steel knives are essential in the kitchen. They stay sharper longer, they can cut through more things. They're not going to dull when you hit the bone of like a steak, or, you know, I even have a family friend, I made her a knife, and she's a vegetarian, so she never even uses it for meat, but she loves it for onions and potatoes and, you know, anything else, what have you, may cut in the kitchen. Takes so long to just get a little bit of shape into the thing. you have so little time to actually work it. I suppose if I had like a press or something like that, I could but that's later on down the road. For right now, you're watching me do it all. With a 4-pound sledge. And this arm and this bicep. By Grabthar's hammer, you shall be avenged. Trying to work the trying to flatten the cutting edge a little bit, less grinding. Also strengthening the steel by condensing the carbon and the steel together and making it an overall stronger cutting edge. And that's another thing. Some knives are just stamped out and then ground. They're never getting that actual forge of, not the forge, but the actual, heating in the forge and the press of the hammer condensing that steel. Now I think I'm going to switch around to the handle, and I can always jump back to the front. That's going to take a second to heat up because it's the other side. But now we're going to close that handle down so that we have, usable knife. I can cut it out. But like I said, that takes longer and it's harder. Cutting with a little 4-inch grinding wheel is dangerous too sometimes. You can hurt yourself. Always wear eye protection. Even doing this, I hit myself right here. Luckily it didn't go in my eye with a red hot slag. When you're hammering it, stuff flies off. So I could probably catch on fire with the shirts that I wear, but they've been hit and they haven't caught on fire yet. So hopefully it's the polyester blend. You don't want to wear something like 100% cotton. It probably wouldn't be a good idea. And then the wood, I don't know what I used up the rest of the wood, so I don't know what I'm going to make the handle out of yet. Probably something, you know, I like rosewood. Rosewood looks really good. It's really hard. It's got really beautiful grain, and the color is super vibrant. Actually, I got bloodwood coming. I may end up just having to use that bloodwood, but I got to use some of the bloodwood for the big Majigowski chopper that I'm making. But it's a big board, so I'm gonna have plenty for other. So I'll probably use the bloodwood, the brass bolsters. Or I could go, I don't know. I could go steel bolsters because I have steel for that. But we'll see. Polished steel bolsters look nice too, you know, and they're hard. They're, you know, they're mild steel, but they're still pretty hard. They're harder than the brass. Now we got kind of a cartoonish version, but just make this better. I should have enough fuel. I just filled it up the other day and I only used it for, what did I make? I think I made that dagger. But I don't know. I did that on Christmas Day and nothing was open. So I made something else. Oh, that other knife that I'm giving away. The one with the cracked handle. Pissed me off. I all the way done and then, you know, I didn't even notice the crack until the very end when I was putting oil on the wood scales. It's a tiny little crack, but it could break down the road. I repaired it with some epoxy, but that's why I'm giving it away. And if the handle breaks, send it back to me. I'll rehandle it, send it back to you. It doesn't bother me. You gotta have good aim for that. You gotta hit it right in the same spot. What I have to do is flatten that, hit it some more because it's not quite long enough yet. So I'm actually closer to the size of steel I needed than I thought I was going to be. But it's still going to be a little thick. But I want it thick quench so it doesn't warp. So if you can follow my double talk this far, then you speak my language. You know what I'm saying? This is relaxing for me. Look, it's a beautiful day. It's January 1st. It's 72 degrees, no humidity. I'm out in the open. I'll have the shade of the shed come summertime, next summer. I didn't really do much between July and the end of August. I didn't really make any knives. It was brutal. After working, I was going to the gym. I haven't been to the gym since I found out I had the hernia, so I may be a little peckish. Didn't look like I did anything, but I actually did. Just think, one of you is going to own this knife. It's going to be your knife, you know? So you're going to see the whole process of me building. From that trunk of steel we started with, where we're at now, to when we're done, a fully functioning, fully capable Death Star. I mean, knife, kitchen knife. We're totally getting there. This is actually a little faster than I thought. You know, I didn't have to do as much. Like the Bowie knife that I gave away for the Toys for Tots. That was just a square, and I had to stretch that way out. So this, I mean, we're still not done, so we'll see. Doing this with a 4-pound hammer. That is my easel. This is my brush. You know what I mean? That is my paint. And I'm a fucking artist over here. Friends. Cleaning off that slag. I'm a 130-something-year-old ammo. Getting ready to whack some stuff. It's a beautiful day. Really having some fun if I was out here with my headphones just jamming away, you know? And that's part of why I'm going to have to fast forward the grinding, because I can't do that without listening to something, because that's just, it's really loud and, you know, grating. So without some sort of ear protection, it's no fun. Difference. I'm almost done with the handle then. Go back to the blade, straighten the whole thing, and then it's on to the next step. So we grind it. Lots and lots. Grinding. See, these knives I usually charge like $150 to $200 for because of the amount of work, and I'm still not really getting paid for all the time that I put in. You know, the materials themselves can be expensive. I got the steel for this for free, so that's part of the reason I'm giving it away. Also, because I would like more people to follow me on this journey of making the Xbox Gladius. by Microsoft. We all know what it is and who it's for. Knife already. I gotta do one more heat on the handle because I want it a little more I'm trying to think of the right word. Uniform in thickness. Right now it's a little bulgy, but that's because I was just, hammering it down this way, so it spreads. It's coming out pretty good, I think. This is going to be one hell of a free knife. Completely shaped with a 4-pound sledge, the handle. I'm going to work a little bit more on the blade, try to thin it out. Do a little bit more on that tip, burn some more hair on my knuckles, and that'll be all she wrote. So don't forget to give me your feedback. I'll have more sophisticated editing and stuff like that as I go along. Really, fairly new to this, but I think it'll be interesting watching me do this. You know what I mean? And they can feed off each other. And if anybody watching any of these videos wants to do a knife swap, I do knife swaps. Whatever skill level you are, I don't care. If you feel like my knives aren't good enough for you, then that's fine. But I'll swap knives with anybody. If you make the knife, or it's just a knife you have, you want to send it to me, I'll send you a knife reciprocally. right here, birthing this thing in my backyard. You know, each one of these knives, a little bit of me goes into them, you know, every single one. I burn myself on it, I bled on them, most of them. So there's a little bit of me in every knife. and they'll be here after I'm gone. Who knows how long any of us got, really, you know? You don't know. So do something, you know? Do whatever you want to do. Or just try at least, you know? That's all it takes is just get out in the backyard and just start, you know? I started out with a blowtorch and some bricks, you know, and an old table saw. Well, on the anvil. But that was, you know, just put it out there. Put it out in the universe. Send good vibes out there, and then it'll come back to you. Whack that a little more. Do a little more thinning. Like I said, we're almost done with this one. And about, you know, the average. But not bad though, not bad. You wouldn't want a knife that only took me 10 minutes to make, would you? Would you? Anyway. It's been fun. And I hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, I can't wait for one of you to have this knife, like to use it to cut whatever it is that you need to cut, except for, you know, don't cut anybody else with it. Please. I don't condone violence. Unless, of course, it's against the Empire. Just kidding. No violence whatsoever. I'm done fooling around with it. I'm just gonna make sure it's straight and straight, and then the problem with this stuff is you gotta let it cool off inside the forge. You let it cool off slow, otherwise I won't be able to drill it, which isn't the end of the world, but then that means I gotta do it when it's hot. Like this, which is drifting, which I may end up having to do anyways, but we shall see. I'm going to let it cool down in the forge for as long as it takes, and then I'm going to try and drill it. Then I'll know. You know, I'm recording me trying to drill it so you can see if we have to, in fact, drift it, which I'm not afraid to do. But these, I can only get a couple of knives out of each one of these before these melt and they turn into uselessness. Even though I want to get a couple of these made out of A1 steel, probably. this off, turn that off, I'll wait till the very end this time because my battery's not about to die like last time. Make sure that everything was charged, even though this thing keeps shutting off. I don't know why. But luckily we keep catching it in time before it gets too much of the back and forth, you know, without it moving. Sexy in there. So, super hot. Isn't that pretty? That is the Forge. Sometimes this can go a little back and forth because you over straighten it, you don't straighten it enough, so you got to go back and forth. I think this thing is starting to aggravate me. The battery must be dying, or I don't know what is going on with it. Luckily, the video's almost over. We're not going to put up this finicky little butt anymore. Just got to straighten this one more time. Back, get it all nice and hot. Then what we'll do is we'll thermal cycle it before we quench it. Then we'll quench it, and then hopefully it doesn't break, because then all this is for naught. The handle's got to be straightened again. The handle is what I want to stay soft anyways. That's what I got to drill. The blade can air harden a little bit, it doesn't really bother me. This stuff actually does air harden. It cools too fast and then it hardens it just from cooling in the air, and then you can't drill it. This, put it back in there, let it cool off, and then be on to the next video. We want that to cool down in there. So we'll let that cool down nice and slow, then hopefully I'll be able to drill it. So until next time.